Hello, welcome back to Him Reads as a Continuous Son of a Witch. Chapter 6. The Superior Mount had long since given up supervising Sister Cook. For one thing, the ancient Mount had little interest in cuisine, her stomach having been soured by too many decades of regrettable food served under bad kitchen government. Those appetites remained to her after all these decades, concerned being the spirit alone. So paused at the thresholds of the mauntery's kitchen, the Superior Mount felt a faint queasiness. Given where the mauntery was situated on the back route from Quadling country, the established took in its share of Quadling girls seemed to be too plain or unruly for merit, or too dull for the mild profession. Teacher, governess, nurse. Sometimes their families reclaimed them. More often than not, the girls ran away, but at least they were older and better fed when they struck out on their own. Still, while in residence, they were as a population docile enough, and they made good kitchen assistants. Looking for Sister Cook, it occurred to the Superior Mount that a Quadling girl might sit with the consurveillance upstairs. Sister Cook, called the Superior Mount, but her voice was rusty. Sister Cook? There was no reply. Into the kitchen ventured the Superior Mount. A few quiet girls worked in a sunny corner, kneading vast, tough pills of bread through their bare knees. The peasant practice was generally frowned upon, but the Superior Mount was passed by the novices, pretending not to notice, as she didn't feel up to delivering a chastisement. Sister Liquor was high on a ladder, giving them each purple bottle of Savor Suckle brandy a quarter term. She was singing to herself and swaying on her rug. "Mercy," replied the Superior Mount, and kept going. The pantry offended with the promise of lunch. Broiled moldflower roots, round of aged scart cheese, and soft blue olives, the kind even donkeys refuse to eat. It's not that hard to keep your mind on higher things when there is so daily fare, observed the Superior Mount. The outside door was open. Beyond the pantry, in the walled orchard, wands of pearlfruit trees twitched and shuddered in the wind. The Superior Mount went through as much a breath of fresh air as to see the severe autumn leaves of pearlfruit leaves, which shaded from granite pink to hesitant periwinkle. In the emerald grass near several novices sat their aprons, begging for a little outing. One of the palsied biddies in a wheelchair and kindly throw a tartan on her lap. The ancient Mount, older than even the Superior Mount by the look of it, or more firm anyway, had pulled her shawl from over her forehead to keep the morning sun out of her eyes. Two of the novices were husking pearl fruit prods. A third was fingering some sort of instrument, a kind of zither or a dulcimer with lengths of catgut strung with two axes, one set perpendicularly above the other. The effect of her plucking and slithering was more tympanic than melodic. Perhaps the thing was out of tune, or perhaps the player untalented, or even that it was a foreign way of making music. Still, the other novices seemed not to mind, indeed, even to take pleasure from the droning sounds. They leaped to their feet at her approach, scattering their work in the grass. They were Quadlings, the younger three of them. "Girls, please," said the Superior Mount, "to your task." Then frantically, Your health, mother." The other Mount nodded but didn't look up. Her eyes were on the fingers of the girls playing. "I was hoping to find Sister Cook," said the Superior Mount. "She's in the mushroom cellar, harvesting for a fungal soup. Shall I fetch her?" asked one of them. "No," said the Superior Mount, looking to the other. "Are you all first years?" "Shh," said the crone. The Superior Mount did not like being shh. "Are you professed, the lot of you?" "Shh, he's coming." "Mother, I have work," said the Superior Mount. The sister in the chair raised her wrinkled hand. She had no fingerprints, no lifelines on her blood, no identity, no history, no nothing to read if her had been burned clean of the individuality through some chastening flame. Only one biddy had his hand. "What are you on about, Mother Jackal?" asked the Superior Mount. The old creature didn't answer, didn't look up, but as she did, one hobbled finger skyward. The Superior Mount turn. All kinds of romance and lore about visitors from the sky, from the sacred scripture to rabble-rousing prophecies. The sky was hard to ignore. It wasn't the sky, though, thought Mother Jackal was indicating. One of the trees, one of it fell like a ruffling cascade, like a stack of ladies' fans sliding silkily off a credenza. A scatter of raisin feathers, red winkling, a gold-eyed set and pear-shaped skull. A crimson phoenix. Male, to judge by the plumage, the species was rumored to have been nearly hunted to extinction. The last known colonies of phoenix lived in the very south of Oz, where the watery acres of marsh began at least to dry out, and a strip of jungle thought to be 7 miles wide still to be traversed to this day. This disease, blown off course, perhaps or deranged by disease, the phoenix landed on the center of the musical instrument that the third girl was playing. She looked up in some alarm. She hadn't been attending anything to her music. The phoenix craned its head and fixed first one, then another golden eye on the superior mount. Well, if you're looking for the talented one, said the phoenix. Well, the phoenix, if you spoke. This is one for you. I've been watching for an hour. She takes little notice of anything but her music. The woman said nothing. Talking birds were not uncommon, but they really bothered to speak to human beings. What a specimen this phoenix was. His rack of tail feathers fanned out laterally, like a turkey's, but a phoenix just as easily could unfurl his closed, coiled camouflage feather, which spiked globally around him, affording a sort of private chamber of airy, concealing fern-like fronds. A male mature phoenix, often in full display, looked like a shimmering globe in the air. Do you know the boy has brought you here? Asked the superior mount, beginning to govern her own awe. I don't know any boys. I don't consort with your kind. I am a red phoenix, he said, as if they might not all have taken it in. The superior mount disapproved of vainglory in all its forms. She turned to a musician. What's your name? The girl looked up but didn't answer. Her face was not as ruddy as some quadlings. Less red, more umber. Its shape was pleasing, proportioned along the lines of an oak-hair nut. Broad brow, high cheekbones, sweet swollen cheeks like a toddler's, a small but firm chin. The superior mount, who did not pay much attention to the looks of her novices, was surprised. She was too beautiful to be a natural mount, so she must be a moron. She doesn't speak much, said one of the novices. She's been here 3 weeks, added the other. Her whisper prayers are in a dialect we can't decipher. We think she cannot raise her voice. The unnamed god hears anyway. Where do you come from, child? Sister Cook will know, said the first novice. Up, said the superior. You have been chosen by a red phoenix. You don't talk much, but do you understand our tongue? Just the one I need. She offered her to the musician, who rose reluctantly. The red phoenix nestled in the grass and set to ridding himself of lice. Can I send for a bowl of scented water or something? Is there a way we can offer charity to you, said the superior mount. We don't have visitors from the likes of you often. In fact, I think never. I'm only passing through, said the red phoenix. There's a conference farther away. The music drew me down. You love music? If I loved music, I wouldn't have stopped. She doesn't play very well, does she? No, I don't love music. It interferes with my homing devices. I was merely curious to see an instrument like this again. The sound of her playing reminded me of the time I had seen one long ago. I'd quickly forgotten, but thank you for your charity. I required nothing but a little rest. The red phoenix looked at the musician, who stood shyly in her pale grail novice skirt. She's a puzzle, that one is, said the red phoenix. Got him, shouted Sister Cook, coming up from behind a snare, and indeed she had. The red phoenix squashed and thrashed, all the eyes in his plumage contorted. The scream was horrible. Fennec steaks, said Sister Cook. I have just the recipe. Let him go, said Mother Jackal. It was not her place to speak next, and the superior mount was irritated. She knew Sister Cook was thinking, Fennec steaks with knobs of butter and tarragon mustard and small new potatoes roasted in the same pan. Let him go, said Mother Mount, more sternly than Mother Jackal. Shoot, said Sister Cook. I spent 15 minutes kicking on this bird. With my lumbago, I actually managed to catch it. You say let him go? Do not question my authority. I merely question your sense, said Sister Cook heavily. She turned the snare over, and the red phoenix exploded from the orchard, cursing. He was on his way to a conference, said Mother Jackal. Enough, said the superior mount. Enough of this. Sister Cook, who is this novice, and where did she come from? Sister Cook was grinding her teeth in annoyance at the missed opportunity. Candled, she muttered. Left here by a gypsy cousin for safekeeping, and he said to be back in a year. Either she'd be mountified by then, or he became her. But I said I'd take her on. She causes no trouble because she can't gossip with the other girls. She knows how to make a mean marrow gravy. I've had her working with Sister Sauce on the feast day roast. Can you spare her? Can I spare a red phoenix is a better question, and the answer to that one is no. We don't eat animals, said Mother Superior Mount. I know times have changed, but it's in our charter. We don't eat anything that can come back to us, Sister Cook. And I find you butchering behind my back. I can hardly spare her, said Sister Cook, looking at the musician, but if you can take her, that unnerving Domagon, with her, I'll call it even. Domagon, that's what it is. I've read of them, but I've never seen one. Come, my daughter, Domagon and all. The superior mount gestured with a tender smile as her crackable mouth could assume. The girl rose. She took the superior mount's hand in the easy, unaffected way the other girl snickered. Yes, she must be simple. I have come looking to ask you what you remembered of the novice we once housed. The strange green girl, Elphaba. Before my time, snapped Sister Cook and left. Mother Jackal scratched her nose and yawned. The red phoenix was still screaming at the sky. He circled the towers of the mauntery safe now, and recovering the ability to be affronted, he was like a clot of blood swimming on the infirmary. Did you say there's a boy in this house? Asked Mother Jackal. She let the shawl slip back and raised her blearily milk-clotted eyes toward the superior mount. Did he bring back the broom? And I'm going to stop there. Thanks for listening.